Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri is an incredible wooden roller coaster. Outlaw Run has everything I could want in a coaster: a beautiful setting, powerful airtime, and impeccable pacing. Built by Rocky Mountain Construction in 2013, Outlaw Run is a very significant roller coaster for both RMC and the amusement industry in general. Outlaw Run was the first ground-up RMC roller coaster ever built, and it showcased RMC's creativity when they aren't bound by a pre-existing layout. It also allowed RMC to showcase their wooden topper track on a full-scale coaster. Topper track was designed to reduce maintenance costs and provide a smoother ride experience. Topper track differs from traditional wood coaster track in that steel replaces the top layers of laminated wood. Compare that to traditional wood coaster track, where you have a thin metal layer atop the laminated wood. Plus, Outlaw Run was the first wooden roller coaster to take riders upside down successfully. Now, I know that last point is debatable. Son of Beast did feature a vertical loop when it originally opened, but the coaster had a myriad of structural problems that ultimately led to the removal of the loop, so lighter trains could be installed. So while the loop wasn't necessarily the problem, Son of Beast as a whole was a failure, and the ride has since been demolished. In addition, Outlaw Run's double barrel rolls were fabricated out of wood, whereas on Son of Beast, the loop used steel track. The successful integration of inversions into a wood coaster layout led to their inclusion on several of RMC's later wooden coasters. And other wood coaster manufacturers like Gravity Group also started incorporating inversions into their layouts. When Outlaw Run opened in 2013, it took the industry by storm. The coaster won the Golden Ticket Award for the Best New Ride, and it has been very highly received ever since. However, the coaster never has a wait. Why is that? The location. Outlaw Run is located in the very back of Silver Dollar City in the Wilson's Farm area, and the ride is deep in the woods. Almost none of Outlaw Run is visible from within Silver Dollar City, with the exception of the lift hill and the bits you can see on the train ride. And the midway leading up to Outlaw Run is a dead end, so unless you're heading down there specifically for Outlaw Run, you will never pass this coaster. That, combined with the ride's lack of visibility, means you have to know this coaster exists to even ride it. Plus, even those who know Outlaw Run exists will have a devil of a time finding it. Silver Dollar City in general has a bizarre and confusing layout, but finding the midway to Outlaw Run is a big challenge. Where do you think this sign leads to? The giant barn swing? Correct. But it also leads to Outlaw Run. But you'd never know unless you studied the map or noticed this itty-bitty sign on the fencing leading up to the giant barn swing. It really baffles me that Outlaw Run doesn't get better signage, because it's a coaster that Silver Dollar City should really be proud of, and most people who ride it seem to come off blown away. While there really isn't any theming along the ride's course, the queue line is well themed, even though you'll never spend any time there. The premise behind Outlaw Run is that you're climbing aboard the Western Missouri stagecoach line, but along the way, you're intercepted by outlaws and need to outrun them. The story is simple, but it gives the ride a backstory that fits in with Silver Dollar City's overall theme. And remember, at Silver Dollar City, the good guys always win, a point that's reinforced when you hit the brake run after every single ride. Unfortunately for thrill seekers, Outlaw Run's restraints are a bit more restrictive than those of a stagecoach. Outlaw Run was the first time that RMC used their own trains on a coaster, and they're very similar to the trains you'll find in their other coasters. You have a seatbelt, a lap bar with no grab handles, and shin guards that can be a bit uncomfortable for taller riders. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of RMC restraints, but I'm neutral on them. I'm the right height so they aren't uncomfortable, and they don't inhibit the airtime for me. Outlaw Run begins with a 107-foot tall lift, and the views atop this lift are breathtaking. You're surrounded on all sides by a dense forest and the Ozark Mountains. I also love the little pre-drop that follows. Not only does it build up speed for the drop, but it gives you a few extra moments to take in the sights. And that's a good thing, because once Outlaw Run gets going, it's all a blur. This coaster has a posted speed of 68 miles per hour, but it feels considerably faster. This coaster hauls. And a lot of that comes down to the use of terrain. Outlaw Run drops down the hillside, which is why it has a 162-foot drop compared with the 107-foot tall lift. And that drop is one of the best of any coaster. It has a max angle of descent of 81 degrees, but it feels vertical. It offers some powerful and sustained ejector airtime. This drop is the main reason I find Outlaw Run to be a back row ride, but there are a few other hills that are superior in the back as well. None of the elements are better up front in my opinion. The pullout from the first drop was surprisingly forceful as well. I grayed out on every single one of my rides because of how tight it was. That's followed by a hybrid inversion overbank. The best way to describe this element is that it feels like you complete 3/4 of a barrel roll, but at the last second you twist back in the direction you entered the element. It's not a stall like the one in Wicked Cyclone, but rather it happens so quickly. The amount of directional changes that take place in this element make it extremely disorienting. If you're up front, you really push through this element, but you don't really get any hang time. If you're in the back, the element feels just as whippy, but you also get some weak but sustained floater airtime. It feels like a toned down version of Lightning Rod's outside bank top hat. Outlaw Run then flies over a speedy S-hill. The change of direction causes some abrupt laterals while you're simultaneously experiencing some very powerful ejector airtime. Outlaw Run then climbs up the hillside and flies over a bunny hill. This hill offers ejector airtime equally as powerful as the prior S-hill, except this hill is straight so there aren't any laterals. That's followed by an element that I'm coining the wave drop. As opposed to a wave turn where you enter and exit the turn on your side, you enter the wave drop sideways but unbank before you head down the drop. If you're up front, you get a tiny pop of sideways airtime. If you're towards the back, you get some sustained floater on the subsequent drop. And this drop plunges all the way back down the hillside, so it can really catch you off guard how tall this drop is. Outlaw Run then charges through the wave turn. And I say that element so casually, but Outlaw Run was the first coaster that coined the term wave turn. This sideways airtime hill introduced the world to sustained sideways airtime. I wouldn't quite call the airtime in this hill ejector, but it's very powerful floater airtime, especially if you're towards the back. That's followed by another bunny hill with another powerful burst of ejector airtime, just as good as the two bunny hills earlier in the ride. Then comes Outlaw Run's signature finale, the double barrel roll. And this element is ingenious for several reasons. One, it completely catches riders off guard the first time, since you don't see it coming around the corner. Two, it was a brilliant way to climb back up the hillside. Outlaw Run has to use all of its remaining kinetic energy to climb back up the hillside. If this were a straight hill, it very likely would have given weak airtime at the top, if it even gave any airtime. Outlaw Run just doesn't have much speed left at the top. But by traveling through a barrel roll that's sloped upwards, the loss of speed actually enhances the element. The first barrel roll is pretty whippy, but the train absolutely crawls through the second barrel roll. It feels like time is standing still. And as you rotate around, you are getting some glorious hang time. You are moved about like a rag doll, suspended in space. The element feels even more exhilarating because of how slowly you travel through it, which is why it was such an ingenious finale, as it allows Outlaw Run to maintain the craziness from start to finish. And that leads right into the strength of Outlaw Run in my opinion, the pacing. Outlaw Run has no dead spots. Once you crest the lift, you go pedal to the metal through the woods. Every single hill offers some sort of airtime, and in many cases, you'll find yourself on your side as well for that airtime. The ride feels completely out of control because of how intense the airtime is, combined with the sense of speed. I love how most of the coaster's elements are at the bottom of the hillside, so you never slow down until the end, where the loss of speed in the barrel rolls is advantageous. One of the biggest critiques I often hear about Outlaw Run is that it's a short ride. But to me, it feels like a complete ride. There are 8 or 9 distinct elements, and they're all incredible. Plus, Outlaw Run really couldn't go any further. Either you spend more time in the valley and are unable to make it back up the hill, or you go up the hill and struggle to make it over the final few bunny hills a la Wicked Cyclone. Another major benefit of Outlaw Run is that the wooded hillside setting also leads to some of the best night rides of any coaster. There is absolutely no light anywhere along Outlaw Run's course once the sun goes down. That makes all the directional changes even crazier because you can't see them coming. You only see the moon above you, and it feels like you've plunged into a black hole. You don't even realize you're with most other people outside of their screams, which are masked by the rumble of the train for the most part. The last thing I want to touch on is the ride's smoothness. When Outlaw Run opened, it was revered for being glass smooth. In recent years, some have dubbed this coaster Outlaw Rough. So is it rough? Not to me. You can definitely feel a few bumps along the way. It's a wood coaster after all, and that's especially true if you're in a wheel seat. But as a whole, the ride tracks quite smoothly. I'd say it's similar to the bumps in El Toro. It's still significantly smoother than most wooden coasters, but I think the bumps are noticeable because of how quickly you fly over them, and they stand out from the rest of the ride that's smooth. Just for reference, I was able to ride Outlaw Run 45 times over the course of 2 days, and that's something I could not have done if it beat me up. So what would I rate Outlaw Run? I'm giving this incredible ride a perfect 10 out of 10. Outlaw Run is a perfect ride to me. You have an incredible setting on a wooded hillside, lots of powerful airtime, impeccable pacing, and re-rideability. It's easily one of my favorite wooden coasters in the world and among the best RMCs. While several of the other RMCs beat Outlaw Run in length, Outlaw Run has a far superior setting, better elements, and superior pacing. So those are my thoughts on Outlaw Run, one of the best wooden roller coasters in the world. Have you been on Outlaw Run? What are your thoughts on Silver Dollar City's best attraction? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a like and consider subscribing because there'll be a lot more amusement park and roller coaster videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.